Hey everyone, it's Clint Tucker, guitar trainer and coach. It is Fretwork Friday, Volume 2 of 2021. We're talking about the language of legato today. If you would, go ahead and like and subscribe and follow me on Facebook. I do in-person lessons and virtual lessons, so go to cwtucker.com and click the booking tab if you want to get a lesson with me. Alright, so we're talking about legato today. And the thing that we're thinking about when we think of it legato is we think of the Italian word smooth. So most people think of legato, they think of hammer-on and pull-off techniques. Now if you're not familiar with what that is, hammer-on techniques are where you're picking with your fretting hand, and pull-off is where you're pulling off and picking with your fretting hand as well. So if your fretting hand is hammering on a note, it's taking the place of the pick. So one of the best ways to practice this is to do the hammer on from nowhere. So we're going to practice this together. Let's go ahead and make sure you're in tune. I'm in standard tuning. And what we're going to be doing, I'm thinking either the 5th fret or the 7th fret. Let's go 7th fret just to kind of get into a new key, B minor. And what we're going to do is we're going to practice fretting just that one note, the 6th string, 7th fret. And we're just going to practice doing that with our index finger. Then we're going to go to the A string, the E note. Now notice I'm muting everything afterwards. Then we're going to the A note on the D string, the D on the G string, the F sharp on the B string, and the E string, the B note. Now it takes a little bit more time to hear it because you're going to hear all that other stuff. That's that. Now let's try to do this. Now let's move it to the middle finger and do the exact same thing. Stay in the same position. This is actually harder than it looks, because you got to practice muting everything that's not being played. Now let's go to the ring finger, 9th fret. Now the pinky, 10th fret. Okay, so you get the idea of what you got to do. You really need to have a pretty good amount of gain or sustain. You could put a compressor on and use a little cleaner signal if you want to, but have it compressed to make sure that all the quiet notes and the loud notes are somewhat in even volume. Okay, now what we're going to try to do is go chromatically. Notice I'm starting to get some noise. That's when this hand comes into play. So after you're done with the 6th string, I want you to mute it with the palm of your picking hand. All right, that took care of all that noise. All right, we'll try this again. Okay, so we're getting an idea. Now, if you want to get another type of practice, one thing I like to do with students is I do the spider walk. And that is I crisscross these fingers. I'll do 1, 3, 2, 4. Okay, and then do the opposite way if you want to, coming back down. Still, we're hammering on. So we could do pinky. So chromatically walking it down. 10, 9, 8, 7. Players like Alan Holdsworth, Greg Howe, Tom Quayle, they're really, really good about doing this hammer on from nowhere, even when they're descending. So one way to practice that is just to practice going from one note on the E string to one note on the B string. So you can practice this by doing. So I'm playing the B note on the E string and the A note on the B string. So that's 7, then 10. No pick. Look, Ma, no pick. Now I'll do the same thing pentatonic scale wise. I could use 7 and 9 on the next strings respectively. Then I'm going to go back to 7 and 10. Now that sounds unique right there in its own right. Alright, so that's one way you can practice the hammer on from nowhere. The next thing you can do is actually pick the first string, then hammer on from nowhere. So I'm picking the first string, and then hammer on to nowhere with the second string. That sounds unique too, because the weight and the attack of the first string with the pick has a certain pop to it, and then the hammer on from nowhere with the pinky actually has a nice has a really nice you hear it? It's kind of like a softness. It's kind of really earthy. And I can, practice that right there. So what am I doing? I'm picking, then hammer on from nowhere. Pick, hammer on from nowhere. Pick, hammer on from nowhere. It's a lot of fun when you want to just try to see how well can you keep them even. Because you don't want one to be this and the other one to be like this. That's not going to work. So that completely sounds different than this. Now, that's like a Paul Gilbert type of thing. We're going to now start thinking about pull-offs. All right, it's a little bit longer today, the lesson is, because this takes a little bit more time to work on. So, the pull-off, what we're going to do is we're going to practice picking. That's right, you heard me right. Picking with the finger that you need to use to pull off. So, when I started changing my mindset from pull off to pull pick It made all the difference in the world. So I'm going to pick with my pinky. So it's literally, I'm plucking with my pinky. So I'm going to keep everything else quiet and pick that first string. Then I'm going to move up to the second string. So interestingly enough, you see my pinky moving, but all you're hearing is this F sharp on the 7th fret. Next one. Next one. Next one. And next one. Now you hear what happened? I actually pushed down too hard. That takes a little bit of time to practice. Now what I can do though is by doing that, I can practice that with my ring finger and my middle finger. So I go pinky, ring, middle. Notice you hear the same exact note. When you get to that middle, you might have to arch yourself just a little bit more. Otherwise, you're actually going to hammer on and then pull off. All right, now let's actually put it into use here. We're going to hammer on from nowhere. Then we're going to pick. Now we have the wire, the siren, from like the British siren. Then we do it with our ring finger. Hammer on from nowhere. Then pick. Middle finger. And we keep doing that all the way down. So if I combine a hammer on, pick, pick. I'm actually doing two different types of techniques, but when you put them together, it sounds very smooth. One thing to say about this too is you're going to develop a lot more strength in your fretting hand, and also stretch those hands. Just stretch them as much as you can. That way you get plenty of flexibility. And the more you do it, shake it out, move them a little bit, and give it another shot. Your goal is to be able to do this while having everything sound smooth and even. Now that's a combination of hammer, pick, hammer, pick, hammer, pick. Now, when you get to where you're doing this stuff really well, what you'll find is that your accuracy with your picking hand and your fretting hand synchronization should get a little bit better when you go back into picking and mixing the two together. Now, I also like to do that hammer on from nowhere. Just to kind of give myself a little bit of variation on the tone that happens. Okay, So get to where you can do this on one single position and then start trying to move it around. Go diatonically up and down the scale like this right here. And then work it out the same exact, formula on the next string. And try to do this for at least about 5 to 10 minutes every day to build up that strength. And then shoot for like 15 to 20 minutes. Get to where you could do like an entire 30-minute session. You'll notice some days you'll have it better than others. It's just like athletics. So keep that in mind. Okay, try out some of these ideas. And if you want to get a session with me, go to cwtucker.com and click the booking tab and go ahead and get something set up. I do virtual and in person. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook. And everyone, have a blessed day.